Hi, welcome back to the channel. So we're trying to make $1,000 off blogging with, at the moment, 2 sites. So some key updates from this week I'm going to take you through. We're going to start as ever with the Search Console. So for rewilding.com, which is a domain I acquired that actually had some quite good backlinks on it, and so far I think it's a bit aged and doing quite well. I've never had more than 2 or 3 impressions from this. I put a couple of blog posts up when I first bought the domain, but haven't really done much with it. And then I've started to add things using some keyword research. And I believe it was just yesterday that they actually got indexed. So if I go to my pages, you'll see I got one more index, but actually in terms of the number that are not indexed, another 30, which means very likely that they were indexed. They're starting to be indexed, the backlog. So I had my best day ever by an absolute mile. I reached 10 impressions yesterday, which isn't a lot, but this is a very new site and I haven't really put much time or energy into it. One of the queries that I am trying to do well in is how to grow zucchini vertically. And so far I'm ranking, let me just get the rankings up. I'm ranking at a 33, 36, 46, 75. So still in this kind of second page, third page for now, but all I've done is write one article and linked it to the website. So I'm hoping that will continue, but it's given me a kind of new lease of life because it's a sign that Google's actually listening and what I'm doing is starting to work. And I've done a few other articles that haven't got anywhere near to being ranked yet. And it's just validated the point of keep focusing on the inputs rather than the outputs. It's nice to track where things are going, but you're not going to make money overnight by getting impressions impressions don't pay anything, quite frankly. So that's where we're up to. The other thing I should mention with this particular site is I got Ezoic approved, so I now have adverts on it. It might be a bit early. I'm not entirely certain. You see I'm starting to get the occasional hit. A lot of this is actually direct traffic from the domains or the backlinks where this domain used to have, but it seems to be doing fairly well. Obviously, this is very early days. I've made 3 cents, but it's actually already making some money, which is cool. The focus now is obviously on building that up. So if I go over to my dashboard on RFs, it doesn't seem to have updated yet, so I will have to save that for another video on the sort of general organics, but number of crawls gone up, referring domains gone down by 1. It is what it is. Now, moving on to the next domain. So this is Growing Monetaries, my finance blog. And this puts things into perspective a lot because over the same time period, this has had 500 impressions, which is 5 times as many as rewilding.com, but actually that's not that many considering how much time and energy I've put into this site over the last 2 or 3 years. It hasn't really been a focus of building into any kind of niche or anything like that. It's really just been my thoughts and blogging randomly about personal finance. So it's not surprising that it hasn't done that well, but it's very interesting to see the difference between the two. We're starting to get a bit of a creep on the sort of average impressions. So back here, you're talking in early July, you're talking 2 or 3 impressions, as high as maybe 13 impressions in a day. If I just take off all of this other stuff, so you can just see. But we're starting to have a sort of trend, but it's slow work. If I go over to RFs, you will see that I'm now ranking for 21, so 12 new keywords since we last updated this video, which is pretty cool, to be honest. So I did a long article on, I did an article on a video on how to turn voice memos into text, and that's ranking fairly well, so 27, 31. It's got a very low keyword difficulty, but also I'm not sure how well that's going to rank longer term. It'll be interesting to see. Focusing on weekly dividends, this has been something I've ranked low for, as in ranked not well for in the past, but I've always kind of ranked for it, and I'm starting to get some momentum. It's starting to move up, and if I go on overview, it should give me actually saying 24 keywords because I think that was just in the US before. So you'll see here are all the keywords. So in April, I was ranking for 4 overall, 11 in May, 15 in June, 17, and 25 in August. So really big progress. I hate the colors they use for this because it doesn't really give you a very clear story. And in terms of those in the top 20, we're still at 2, but we've gone up from 1. But in terms of those below 50, we're at 5. Well, 21 to 50 is 5, so 7 total. So things are starting to happen. I'm tempted because I've got a lot coming up in the next few weeks life-wise. I'm tempted to try investing in some content writers as well for other sites, just to see how that elevates and building some kind of longer term stuff. What do you think about that? Anyone have any experience on that? Do you think it's a wise thing to do? And in terms of earnings from this site, I should also show you that. So this is not been doing well. I tend to get a peak every time. I get a lot of direct traffic when I post about my net worth on a monthly basis, but you'll see last 7 days is down to sort of 4 cents. I did come off as Stoic for a while, and I just jumped back on just because I wanted to see if it was getting better or worse. But the rankings are definitely improving drastically from all the content I've been posting, all the updates I've been doing to my old content. There's been quite a drastic change. So I'm just going to see if I can pull up a longer term view. So to give you an idea, this is, I mean, obviously this is quite different to Google Analytics, but yeah, I've reached 100 page views, or 86 page views in a day before, in mid-July. That was when I posted about my net worth. But most of the time it sort of trundles along. Let me just switch over to Analytics to show you what that looks like. So it tells a very different story to how I'm doing in the Search Console. I think this is quite a kind of to be expected because I've been focusing on search content over the content that traditionally has been has worked well on my bigger sites. So over 28 days, I'm up to 250 views, but there was actually 450 if you count the last snapshot I took, which was not the perfect measurement. If we go over 90 days, I'm at 1.4k, but a lot of that was front loaded in May to June. So yeah, I mean overall I'm on the up, and I think the organic search content's doing well. I need to continue to grow that. Things are starting to rank quite quickly, so it's about investing the time in that, and yeah, hopefully that will make a big difference to my longer term standings. Yeah, if you enjoy this, you want to see how this goes, then follow along to see what happens next. I'll be very transparent about everything as long as I can. And yeah, hopefully this gave some value to some people.